McTaggart, waiter owner of Fusion Grill, has joined me in studio this Monday morning for a midsummer chat about goings-on and updates at the restaurant. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Simon. How are you this morning?
You know, I'm doing very well, Scott. I'm wondering, are you feeling a little salty this morning?
Yes, I am. I'm wearing my salty T-shirt today
great.
in honor because we're here talking about the Fusion Grill 3.0, the new renovation, the makeover that we did just finished. So we're just back open now and salty. I'll try and make a long story short. So I wait on tables as I do, and I was looking after this one table, and every time I went to the table, the lady there was like, you should do something about these chairs. You should do something about these walls. You should do something. And every time I go back to the table, I'm checking on how is this and how's that? And anyways, every time she's saying this, and finally I kind of snap. And I say, look, you know what? When Robin Williams was here, he didn't say a word about the chairs. Same thing with the last three governors general of Canada, the governor of the Hunan province of China. I'm listing off all these famous people that have been there. And I sort of she looks a little chuffed, right? Anyway, so I go away and I cool down. And the next day on TripAdvisor, there's a review of Fusion Grill, and it says, obviously from this lady, because she goes, the food's good, but watch out for the owner. He's saltier than prepackaged food. So my mom went out, my wife, my darling wife went out and got me this T-shirt that says salty on it, and I just love it, and so that's my new nickname.
Well done. Wearing it proudly. Scott Salty McTaggart here with me in the studio. So you mentioned the big news. The renos are completed. What was that process like? Can you talk about, renos, they can be overwhelming at times. They can be complicated. They can run ahead of schedule, behind schedule, maybe right on time. What was this process like for you guys?
You know what? The process was fantastic. I work with a really great contractor. This is our third major project together. And I got to tell you, Vince is something else. This guy will work. 4 o'clock means nothing to him. It's like if the project is behind, he's going to work more. If it's on time, it'll be perfect. But it is a very, 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 renovating is stressful. Absolutely. I hear you. I get it. But, I work with this guy and I think it's fantastic. And all too often, people like to tell horrible stories about contractors and their nightmares. And, you don't hear the good ones very often. And that's, I think, the same thing with restaurants sometimes too. Simon, like people love to tell the horrible, awful experience that they had at the restaurant and sort of glance over the really, positive experiences. And I'm pretty sure that the positive experiences outnumber the negative ones right across the city for our my restaurant colleagues.
Oh, it's a good point you make. So what all changed at Fusion Grill?
Well, the floor, the ceiling, the walls.
What about the chairs?
Nope. Some of them have changed.
All right.
But we kept the chairs. The chairs look, those chairs have been quite a source of controversy. So I did a couple of things. First of all, I got 3 sample chairs that I kind of liked and put them in the room and was getting feedback from guests. The feedback that I got was, you're not changing the chairs, are you? Next was, I met a nice, interesting furniture manufacturer in Canada, and he said, I told him about the chairs, and he said, send me a picture. And so I took a video of the room and the chair, and he's laughing at me when after viewing it and says, you know what, Scott? Those are exactly the chairs that we're making for all the trendy, little restaurants in Toronto area. And I go, you're kidding. And he sends me a picture of the chair that he just made, and it's almost exactly like our chair. And he said, look, I'd love to sell you chairs, but you got a nice chair there. There's nothing wrong with it. It's sturdy. And then it was 1950s. This chair was made in Winnipeg. It's ancient, and it's got a lot of history to it, and it looks pretty good and it's comfortable. So yeah, the chairs, but they look really great in the new decor.
Well, what's old is new again, they say, right? And
sure.
That stuff comes back, and you guys are just ahead of the curve, it sounds like. So well done. So one of the things I'm curious about is, for you as waiter owner of Fusion Grill, you mentioned this is Fusion Grill 3.0. Does this interior reno feel like a bigger deal than the exterior reno of a few years back when you changed the color scheme and the look of it? Does it just feel like the evolution of the restaurant to you, or from that perspective, how are you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, the renovation inside was a lot more involved than the renovation on the outside. The renovation on the outside sort of started when the old Fusion Grill sign blew down one Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and other than sort of thinking about the design, really the whole thing was performed by a really great commercial painter, Pablo, and the interior, of course, a lot more to it. I mean, electrical, plumbing. There was a 3.5-inch drop from the wine rack to the front door. So, just leveling out 3.5 inches over that course was, challenging itself. And I worked with a sensational designer, Renee Struthers from Ola Hirath, who has come away with a couple of nice awards the last couple of years, and just has a great sort of sense of a prairie aesthetic. And that's really what we were trying to sort of do. We're creating something that's, relatively new and fresh, and always trying to define, Manitoba cuisine, and that extends to the music we listen to, the artwork on the wall, and the colors and the textures in the dining room as well.
It sounds like it's just maintaining that charming ambience that you guys are also known for, right? Just the experience of being in the prairie, drawing on the prairie, and putting local first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's beautiful things, and you always learn something, right? The bar is made out of we've got a bar top now, so you can come in, you can have a glass of wine, or, share an appetizer type of a thing, and you don't have to worry about making a reservation and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more casual side. It's made out of Tyndallstone. Do you know? I didn't know this, but Tyndallstone is a Manitoba exclusive, sort of unique to Manitoba quarry stone, and anyways, it looks just gorgeous, and it's right from over Garson here, and it's fun to still be able to learn a little bit about this province, and then communicate that to our guests in, as you say, a nice sort of comfortable dining atmosphere that really focuses on the experience.
So we're talking about a lot of change at the restaurant. Has Chef Lorna created anything new and inspired by the renovations in the space? Is there anything new on the menu that you want to point out these days?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, the part of the concept of Fusion Grill is change and creativity, and but certainly, when Chef walked in and took a look at the final project, because we closed for 2 weeks for our summer vacation, so everyone sort of goes away. I stayed and did the reno, but when staff came back and Chef came back and to see it, it was wide-eyed and wow, and certainly that provides a great sort of added motivation, incentive to sort of bring it, to the table. And it's, we've got some tasty things. There's a new bison dish on the menu, featuring some local vegetables, lemon garlic remoulade, eggplant, and beluga lentil moussaka, and demi-glace, and mushroom dust.
Mushroom dust.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I got a load of, last week I bought way too many gorgeous, beautiful porcini mushrooms, ceps, boletes. They were just with this rain and the summer heat and the way it's going, it's a great year for mushrooms. We had beautiful morels. So those got on the menu right away. I love when that happens, when a forager shows up at the back door and shows you what they've picked and are proud of it, and you negotiate a price, and then Chef puts it on the menu, and people are enjoying it right then. And that happens within the span of a few hours. I love that.
And there's also lunch too, right?
And there's lunch too. It's big changes to the lunch menu. We're keeping some of our favorites, although I've got to tell you some bad news. Our pickled cheeks are off the menu. I know. Not because of anything that we did, but it's unfortunate that some of the forest fires up north, we've lost 2 major fish camps are from one of our suppliers. So that that wrecked the fishing season for him. I feel bad for for Barrie up north, but hopefully they'll be back in September. And we've got chef's got some other things lined up. Just gorgeous, beautiful salads this time of year. We're starting to see some, some of the bounty that comes out of the garden, and all of that's going to be hitting the lunch menu, including. Do you remember that burger from Dynabout?
I do remember the burger from Dynabout.
Yeah, the duck liver pate and the beer jam, the IPA jam. Yeah, the awesome bun.
It was awesome.
It's gonna.
I can confirm it was awesome.
It's going back on the. It's going on the lunch menu, so you can have a chance to visit that on a regular basis.
Well, Scott, I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning. It's a pleasure seeing you as always.
Simon, a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So you can find Scot Salty McTaggart over at Fusion Grill with their new Reno 550 Academy Road. For details, visit fusiongrill.mb.ca.